is not quite solid. It gives slightly underfoot, the way wet sand does at the edge of a rising tide. Beneath that first thin crust, something softer, a dark, granular substrate that has never known sunlight as you understand it. This is Titan, the largest moon of Saturn, and the air is the color of aged amber. Everything is amber here, the haze above, the plain below, the faint disk of a sun that offers no warmth at all. A thousand times dimmer than the light you left behind, and yet not darkness. More like the last minutes before a winter dusk, held permanently in place, a twilight that has forgotten how to end. The atmosphere presses close, half again as dense as the air on Earth. You could lean into it the way you lean into a slow current, and it would hold you. Scattered around your feet, small stones rounded by something that flowed here once. Not water, something colder, thinner, with a different weight on the tongue of the land. Methane, pooled and moving, carving these channels the way rivers carve on Earth. The cobblestones are the color of dark tea, their edges worn to gentle curves over centuries no one counted. And the gravity is light, 1/7 of what your body remembers. Each step lifts you slightly longer than it should, as though the ground is reluctant to let you go. Each footfall lands a half-second late, like a word arriving after the thought that sent it. The sensation is not falling, not floating, something between the two that has no word in any language spoken on Earth. You begin to walk. The plane stretches ahead without boundary or interruption. Low dunes of organic sand rise in long parallel ridges, hundreds of kilometers long, shaped by winds you cannot feel at this altitude. Their color is a deep umber, carbon-rich grains that drifted down from the upper atmosphere as a kind of slow, ceaseless snow. Tholin, the chemists called it, a word borrowed from the Greek for muddy. And it has been falling here for longer than anything has been alive on Earth. The dune crests are sharp against the amber sky, though the light that defines them is soft, without shadow. No shadow anywhere on Titan. The haze diffuses everything into an even, sourceless glow. You walk along the trough between two ridges, and the sand gives quietly beneath your weight. The sound it makes is lower than you expect, a muffled compression, almost subsonic, dampened by the thick air. Each footstep carries further in this atmosphere, as if the ground is speaking to something far away. Above, the haze is layered, pale tangerine near the horizon, deepening to burnt sienna overhead. The sun, if you looked for it, is only a brighter smudge to the south, no more defined than a lamp behind frosted glass. Saturn is up there too, 11 times wider than the moon you grew up under, but hidden, always hidden, behind the orange veil. A presence you carry the knowledge of, the way you know someone is sleeping in the next room. The first drop strikes the back of your hand. Not water, colder than water has ever been, and slower in its fall. In this low gravity and thick air, the rain descends as if it has nowhere particular to be. Large drops, widely spaced, each one catching the amber light as it turns. Methane rain, the same substance that carved the channels and pooled into the lakes marked on maps no human hand has held. It does not soak the ground the way water would. It sits for a moment on the crust, trembling like a held breath, before the surface gives and draws it in. The sound of it landing is soft, a tap, then a faint hiss, then nothing. 100 of these drops around you now, each one darkening the dust in a tiny circle, writing some patient record of arrival. The plane is being written on in a language of small, patient impacts. You walk on, and the drops thicken around you like a slow applause. The ground darkens ahead in a long, curving band, a channel where methane once flowed and will flow again. Its bed is smooth, polished by a liquid that weighs less than water and moves with less conviction. You step down into it, and the sediment is finer here, almost powder, almost silt. The channel curves gently westward, and you follow it because there is nothing else to follow on this world. You do not hurry. Hurrying is not something this place permits. The dunes have thinned and the ground has leveled, a wide, dark plain of compacted sediment, faintly lustrous where the rain has touched it. Ahead, the land dips. A broad depression, shallow at its edges, darkening toward the center. The rain is heavier now, though the word heavier barely applies. The drops are simply closer together, their rhythm slower, more certain. You can hear it on the sediment ahead of you, a sound like fingertips on a drum skin. And beneath that, a lower sound, the gathering of liquid in the depression, methane finding its level. The shallow lake that forms here has no color of its own. It borrows the amber of the sky and holds it, motionless on its surface. You stand at its edge and look out across a mirror that reflects nothing but haze. No wind disturbs it. The rain enters the surface without a ripple, as if the liquid accepts each drop as something already belonging to it. You walk along its edge. The methane is barely ankle deep at the margins, and it moves around your feet like cold silk. Where the pool narrows, the land rises again into a low ridge of darker material, organic sediment compacted over millennia. Beyond the ridge, the terrain opens. That line is the shore. Between here and there, the ground is flat and dark and patient. You walk, and the rain walks with you. There is no path, but there does not need to be. Every direction on this plane leads eventually to the sea. The sound of your footsteps has changed, softer now, damper, as the sediment holds more liquid. Somewhere beneath this ground, 100 meters down, there may be water. Not methane, actual water, mixed with ammonia, kept liquid by pressures the surface never feels. Hidden ocean under an orange sky, but that is deeper than you need to go tonight. The surface is enough. Far beyond this lowland, further than your eye can resolve in the amber murk, lies Kraken Mare. A methane sea wider than the Black Sea, deeper in places than the North Sea, and utterly still. No tide. Titan's rotation is locked to Saturn, and the liquid here feels no pull from any direction. Nothing stirs it, no current beneath, no wave breaking at the edges, only a stillness that reaches to the bottom. The shore of Kraken Mare, when you reach it, will be the quietest place in the solar system. But that is still a long way off, and the rain is company enough. You sit. The crust holds your weight for a moment, then settles, soft beneath, like the top of something baked and cooled. The rain falls on your shoulders, on your upturned palms, on the ground around you in its slow, unhurried percussion. Each drop arrives from a cloud 200 kilometers above, where methane condensed around a tholin nucleus and began its long descent. "200 kilometers of falling through amber air, and not once did it rush. And arriving here on this small patch of sediment, without urgency, without force, the horizon has drawn closer now, or you have drawn closer to it. The difference no longer matters. The dark line is no longer a line, but a broad, still expanse, amber sky reflected in a surface flat as poured glass. Kraken Ma. The shore is gentle, no cliff, no break, just the land sloping into liquid so gradually the boundary is hard to name. methane laps at nothing? No tide moves it, no moon tugs at its weight. It simply rests, filling a basin older than any ocean on Earth, and the rain adds to it, one drop at a time. You stop at the place where sediment becomes shore, becomes sea. The rain falls into the liquid ahead of you without a sound you can separate from the silence. Somewhere ahead, the ground softens further, and the faintest coolness rises where the methane sea begins. settled into something so steady it is no longer a sound but a texture, a fine grain in the air itself. Everything here smells of deep cold, not sharp, not biting, but ancient, like stone that has never been worn. As it has held for 1 billion years on this quiet moon, at the edge of a sea no one has named.